Greetings, everyone. My name is Charles Kovach, the not safe for work presidential candidate campaigning for more direct democracy. Because simply saying, hey, I think we should have more direct democracy over and over and over again, it gets kind of dull and boring and repetitive. I make videos talking about current events and other topics that interest me as a way to garner attention to this campaign and this idea. And today we're going to talk about the Ohio legislation. HB 413, apparently it is. Now, I'm only going to be reading a small section of this thing because the piece of legislation is 500 fucking pages long. It's like they decided, hey, you know what would be a good idea? Let's rewrite the entire criminal code, and yeah. So, the section I'm going to be reading is on abortion. This is section 2904.01. And it says this chapter supersedes all conflicting provisions of the revised code regarding abortion. No state funds shall be disbursed that would support a violation of this chapter. No contract shall be enforced if that enforcement would require or support a violation of this chapter. And holy shit, I have to sneeze. Section 2904.02, as used in this chapter. Alpha, fatal condition means a disease or injury that will lead to a patient's death and does not include either 1, a condition related to the patient's mental health, or 2, the pregnancy itself. Bravo, physician has the same meaning as in section 2305.113 of the revised code. I'm not going to look it up, and I'm going to assume it means something of a trained medical professional who is knowledgeable in whatever the fuck they're doing with someone's body. Charlie, reasonable medical judgment means a medical judgment that would be made by a reasonably prudent physician, knowledgeable about the case and the treatment possibilities with respect to the medical conditions involved. Delta, unborn child, means an individual organism of the species Homo sapien from fertilization until live birth. Echo, viable, means a stage of development of a human fetus at which there is a realistic possibility of maintaining and nourishing life outside the womb, with or without temporary artificial life-sustaining support. Section 2904.03. Alpha, no person shall purposely and with prior calculation and design perform or have an abortion. Bravo, no person shall purposely perform an abortion while committing or attempting to commit kidnapping, rape, aggravated arson, aggravated robbery, aggravated burglary, trespass and habitation when a person is present or likely to be present, terrorism, or escape. Why would there be a necessity to say performing abortion while committing another crime? Do they want to somehow make the punishments worse? It's like, oh yeah, you were performing an abortion, but at the same time, you were knocking over a liquor store. I mean, you're obviously a really, really, really fucking talented person, but we're just gonna lock you away for much longer now. Fucking break. Charlie, no person who is under detention as a result of having been found guilty of or having pleaded guilty to a felony or who breaks that detention shall purposely perform or have an abortion. Delta, whoever violates this section is guilty of aggravated abortion murder and shall be punished as provided in section 2929.02 of revised code, which I'm not going to read. Section 2904.04. Alpha, no person shall purposely perform or have an abortion. Bravo, words are hard, shut up. No person shall cause an abortion as a proximate result of the offender's committing or attempting to commit an offense of violence that is a felony of the first or second degree and that is not a violation of section 2904.03 of the revised code. Charlie, Division Bravo, this section does not apply to an offense that becomes a felony of the first or second degree only if the offender previously has been convicted of that offense or another specified offense. Delta, whoever violates this section is guilty of abortion murder and shall be punished as provided in section 2929.02 of the revised code. So, if you purposely perform or have an abortion, you're only guilty of abortion murder and not aggravated abortion murder, Whereas if you decide beforehand you're going to have an abortion, and then you have an abortion, or you decide beforehand if you're going to have an abortion, or you're going to perform an abortion and then perform an abortion, that is, you are now going to be punished for aggravated abortion murder. Section 2904.20, a court shall regard the unborn child victim of an aggravated abortion murder or abortion murder as a person who is less than 13 years of age. Section 2904.30, it is an affirmative defense to charge under this chapter for the woman upon whom an abortion was performed or attempted to be performed if both of the following apply. Alpha, she was compelled by force, fear, duress, intimidation, or fraud to have the abortion. Bravo, she has filed a report with the law enforcement agency with the requisite jurisdiction, certifying in writing that she was compelled to have the abortion. So, someone getting an abortion can say, oh, the devil made me do it. Section 2904.35, a physician who does all of the following is not subject to criminal prosecution, damages in any civil action, or professional disciplinary action for a violation of this chapter. Alpha, using reasonable medical judgment, believes it is highly probable that a pregnant woman will die from a certain fatal condition before an unborn child is viable. Bravo performs a surgery before the unborn child is viable for the sole purpose of treating the pregnant woman's fatal condition. And Charlie treats all possible steps to preserve the life of the unborn child while preserving the life of the woman. Such steps include, if applicable, attempting to reimplant an ectopic pregnancy into the woman's uterus. And that's the part that made all the hullabaloo. So, let's recap this little section here. If the woman's going to die, fuck her. Well, somebody did already, but you know what I mean. Yes, if the woman's going to die because they're pregnant, then make sure that the woman and the child both die. And if a woman's going to die because of an ectopic pregnancy, which is the fetus clinging to the woman's body somewhere outside of the uterus, like the fallopian tubes, in which case they will pretty certainly die. I'm not sure, but I don't think fallopian tubes are designed to be stretched that way. But anyways, the doctor's supposed to reimplant it. Something that's like regrowing an arm. It's just not feasible. Sure, we can do transplants, but transplanting a fetus, there's a whole lot of microscopic tissue that would have to come into play, and the fetus that would have to be connected, and the fetus would not survive the surgery. It's impossible. And I doubt the woman would come out much better either. So, you know, there are people, I just always got to say that I find it interesting that the loudest anti-abortion institutions are the ones that commonly get found abusing children. Now, we can get into the discussion of abortion, and I'll start doing that in a second. But legislation such as this is the people who think that this is a good thing, as far as, hey, the woman's going to die because, you know, you're not letting her have an abortion. I would suggest that you go and stand over by those extremist Muslims that stone a girl to death for being raped, because I don't see much of a difference. But as far as the quote-unquote leaders who help push this, there's very little chance that I see that they actually are doing this for religious reasons. It's usually because they want to kill off people. And once again, pauper aside. So let's talk about the Theseus uh, uh, spectrum of abortion. And for those of you who don't know, Theseus spectrum, if you've ever heard of the Theseus paradox, which is there's an ancient Greek ship named Theseus, and piece by piece a part got removed and replaced by a new part, and then all the old parts were used to build the ship originally as it was. So which one is the actual Theseus? Is it the reconstructed ship of the old parts, or is it the new ship that was replaced piece by piece? And if so, and in either case, at which point did one ship stop being the Theseus? So this is a thought experiment, and examining it helps you understand that things are always not so defined, and maybe it could be something as simple as language. So when we talk about abortion and when life begins, well, first off, I have to agree with George Carlin that said life began billions of years ago, and it's just a continuing process, and it'll probably be here long after humanity is gone as well. But as far as an individual sentient being, I don't know. I don't really remember being sentient as a baby. Not to say that that means one thing or another. I'm just pointing that out. It's understandable to have doubts about an abortion. But when your beliefs on abortion are, your standpoint on abortion is dictated solely by beliefs, well, just remember what I always say about beliefs, is that the thing that a person should be most afraid of is the things they believe in, because the more they believe in something, the less likely they are to question it. So I'm not going to demonize people for being anti-abortion, and I'm not going to demonize people for being pro-choice, because this isn't something simple. As I said, it's a Theseus spectrum. Now, for those that want to say that abortion at any stage, even when it's still an embryo, is murder, I'm going to say you're fucking stupid. Because that is so far out of the realm of practicality and what actually defines life in a general sense. I'm not talking in a scientific sense, that you're just you're making the same argument that it's like, oh, look, I'm committing murder. Look, I'm rubbing off a bunch of my cells. These are live cells. They have human DNA in them. They're able to reproduce. Well, actually, the top layer is dead cells, but you get the point. I'm committing murder right now. So, sorry, but that's why your argument's stupid. It's not an easy question dealing with abortion. And, like many other things, we all have to accept that it's not something that we can just draw a hard line at. We have to take many things into account. We have to realize that people are individuals and situations are individualized as well. Usually, before the third trimester, seems okay. The human brain, even though it's still just developing, is not active outside of natural biological functions. Remember, I always say, what is the human being if not a ghost in a biological machine? Our consciousnesses are things that just happen to form out of a need to sustain ourselves. And that's really what humanity is. Whichever way you want to think that humanity got to where we are, the truth is still the same. We are biological machines. And our consciousness is are side effects of that. So, there's my stance on abortion. There is the arguments. Well, I really argued one side, so let me argue against the other side also. So, well, I mean, there's not really much argument on the other side, because most people that I see that are pro-choice, they're not willing to agree to late-term abortions either. So this whole thing of pro-choice being murder, or abortion being murder, a lot of people that are pro-choice don't really hold the viewpoint that their detractors say they do. There is a lot of common sense in this discussion. You just have to take a step back and listen to it. And I'm going to leave it there. Once again, my name is Charles Kovach, and I'm running for President of the United States because I want a more direct democracy. And if a direct democracy is something that you are interested in, then I urge you to spread the word about this campaign and this concept, and I thank you about your time. I thank you for your time, not about your time. Words are hard today.